We welcome into the studio our good friend, Hall of Famer Thurman Thomas. And guys, I have some good news to pass along to you. 60 seniors advanced in the voting process for the Pro Football Hall of Fame class of 2025. The number of 182 nominees has been reduced now to 60, and one Steve Tasker remains on the list. How about that?
How about that?
59th on that list?
How about that, baby? How about that?
So in case you're wondering where it goes from here, there is a separate 9-person Seniors Blue Ribbon Committee. Thurman, we got to get you on that committee so you can stump for this guy.
You and Marv and Jim.
Don't tell anybody.
So they will make...
I am on it.
Okay.
All right. So obviously I'm not getting in.
The separate 9-person Seniors Blue Ribbon Committee will make additional reductions in increments over the next several weeks. In late fall, this committee will select 3 seniors as finalists for possible election with the class of 2025.
How much time you guys put in on that? That's meeting, like it's on a schedule.
Is it on Zoom, or you guys got to go out to Canton?
we because we pick like.
There's only 9 of you.
Yeah, we get to choose our own. I don't even talk to other guys.
Oh, you don't talk to anybody?
No.
You just make your list.
Do you
make
know
my
who the other
list.
guys are?
Oh yeah, I know who.
Oh,
they
so
are.
you know the other guys.
Yeah, I know the
Okay.
other
So it's
guys.
not like blind draw. Or
No, not at all. Yeah. I'm
you
putting
don't-
down every running back and you.
Maybe that's the problem. There ain't like if you put 9 special teams guys on it, right? Then you can put me. Yeah, I got you. Every other running
Every
back.
running back and you.
Baby, exactly.
Yeah, the running backs
Every
left.
other running back and me.
The running backs left are Alan Amici, Otis Anderson, Larry Brown, Roger Craig, Chuck Foreman, Cecil Isbell, and Paul Tank Younger. So,
Some of those guys are way back.
oh, did Ricky Waters?
Way back.
Ricky Waters is still a modern era candidate.
Yes, he is.
Okay,
Yeah,
he's
still
not a
modern
veteran.
era. Yeah, him and Warwick Dunn, a couple other guys. Yeah, I haven't even really looked at my list yet.
Roger Craig, yeah.
Roger Craig should
that would-
be in.
yeah.
It just got announced, right? I guess because
Yeah.
we haven't.
Yeah.
I just
Yeah.
got
I got
the
a date.
email.
Yeah, I got a date to get my names in, so I'm all good.
right.
I'm good
Okay.
from here.
All right, stay on top
I
of
want
that.
to do it this weekend. Oh, maybe I will do it this weekend. Oh man.
I don't know if you want to. You might get some unwanted input.
Well, I mean,
Thurman's,
they can. Yeah. Well, I'll listen to them.
Yeah.
Thurman's alluding to, all right, we'll more, we don't want to talk about
We can
our weekend.
recap that
We don't want
We
to
can
talk about our
recap
weekend
that.
yet.
We can recap that in February.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
So that's cool. Very well done, and very
Awesome.
appropriate.
Yeah,
I
that's-
think.
yeah, it's
'Cause,
always-
I mean, you're the
cool to-
only
cool to
only
be in the-
specialist left
Yeah.
on the seniors list.
It's cool to be in the conversation. It is, but I tell Thurman all the time it might mess it all up for me because I got a nice life here in Buffalo. I like working with you, the group here. I got like a 10-minute commute to work. It's awesome. I don't
know, man. It's a little
It might
different.
mess it all up.
No, I don't think it will.
All you got to do is change.
Mess it all up.
All you got to do is change your business
Wait a minute,
card.
you put that jacket on, you just raise your price a little bit
Yeah.
more. That's all that happens. Really.
Change your business
Exactly,
card.
Right, my
exactly.
business
I'm telling
card.
you, man.
It's really all it
I don't
changes.
know. I turn into a donkey, man. I'll be insufferable, just like I was when I was 13, man. I'll be like snotty.
You'll be fine. You'll be fine.
All right, so Therm,
That ain't gonna
this Texans team this week got a lot of high-powered skill position players.
Yeah.
And they still haven't put it all together yet down there in Houston. They're not even averaging 20 points a game.
No.
Maybe a little fortunate to be 3-1 in light of that. A lot of people attribute it to the absence of Joe Mixon, who's been out with a high ankle sprain, as to why, their offense hasn't looked like everybody expected it to.
Right.
He only had one game, and he went off for like 140 yards.
Yeah.
Rushing. I think that was in week one, and really hasn't played much since. How much does a running back like that kind of make a difference for an offense that even has plenty of receiving weapons and a great quarterback?
Yeah, well, I think especially with Joe Mixon, and obviously I have to talk about it, even though he went to University of Oklahoma. Yeah, so, yeah, but
They can't all be winners.
Yeah, I know. But I think Joe Mixon brings a different mentality to the game. He's a feisty, angry guy, and he loves being physical with a DB, a lineman, a linebacker. It doesn't matter who it is. And I think he just brings a toughness to that football team. He really does. And I know that they have. I mean, look, he's right in the middle of everything. Right, he's leading everything. And they got Tank Bell is there, Willie Anderson Jr. Stefon Diggs. I mean, they have some guys that are there. But he's the guy, if you remember when he was with Cincinnati, he was basically doing the same thing.
Attitude guy.
Attitude guy. And I think that's really gotten to the players there. And I think it's really helped them be really physical and really be like, hey, we got a good football team here. Everybody knows that we got a good football team, but we have to believe it. I think those guys have really bought in.
Yeah, I was surprised. I don't know why this is, but when you look at a back and you think, oh, they're this type of back, they're this type of back. I totally forgot he's 6'1", 220.
Yes,
because he's a little lanky, so you don't think of him being that thick.
Yeah,
but 220. Like he doesn't look 220 on the eyeball.
I'll say this too, though. The jury's still out on it because he had the opening game. He had 30 carries for $159. I mean, he tore it up in Indianapolis, no question about it. But the next week, it was 9 for 25.
And then he got hurt.
He's hurt.
And he's not a spring chicken either. Like, let's not forget that.
Yeah, how old is he? 30 or 31? Oh.
28.
Well,
he's still young.
He's still got a couple more years.
This is right in the midst of it for him. Yeah.
Yeah, he's probably the oldest guy on that. Well, Stefon's a couple of years older.
Stefon's
but he's been. But you know what though? He's been in big games before. He's been in some big. So he brings the experience with all of this. Of hey, I know what I'm talking about. I know what I'm doing. I'm going to keep the energy in this locker room, and especially on this side of the ball, I'm going to keep the energy there.
What was your philosophy? Because I used to go back and this. After I finished playing, I would go back and watch some of the old games. And you took a pounding, like I forgot. What was your philosophy on how good you had to feel to be 100% available on a Sunday? Because you're never 100%.
Right.
And a guy like Mixon coming back off an ankle, I don't know if the guy can even walk, let alone, but did you have how did you know whether, okay, I can play
Where was
this
the
week
line?
Or where I'm out?
You know what? As far as I can go, if I was able, I knew we had a great offensive line, first of all, with Kent and all those guys. I can go through the line straight ahead and fall for 3 or 4 yards.
Yeah.
So I didn't have to make a lot of shifty cuts or whatever. But when you're talking about a running back having a high ankle sprain maybe? Yeah, but his mentality always been like north and south runner. So I don't think you'll see any like stretch plays for him, anything.
Yeah, because they run that wide zone.
They run the wide zone
with the Shanahan tree.
Yep,
Bobby Slowick.
exactly.
He runs is that harder to run with a high ankle sprain?
That is harder to run, especially. Yeah, I don't know what ankle it is, but he will not trust that ankle cutting back right off the bat. I've had a high ankle sprain, and
Did you?
A lot of tape around it,
But you still feel it.
What's the least amount of practice you could go in a week and still play? I know Marv had his
You
thoughts
mean to know your
about it.
stuff, Steve? You're talking about?
Yeah, like Mixon's not practicing yesterday. He ain't practicing today. Friday's like a walkthrough. Everybody can practice then.
Yeah.
What do you think about not practicing?
He's 28 years old. Who cares?
Yeah, right.
Do they really
Show
practice
up and
today?
play, right.
You can take a couple of days off
during
the week. You just go in, you go in, you watch the film, and you're good to go.
Now you sound like a bitter old man.
No, I'm not a bitter old man, but that's the way it was.
Yes,
as
you
long as you were in the building, you were going through the meetings, mental reps, everything. You're getting the treatment 2 or 3 times a day.
I'm kind of like you. I'm kind of feeling like that too. It's not like he was gone.
Right.
He was just not taking physical reps on the field. He was in the meetings, watching the film, hearing the conversation, taking part in the conversation.
Having the back who was going to replace him, talking to him, and telling him this is your limit. This is what you can do.
What is your? Because it used to be, you had to practice in order to play.
Right.
And not so much anymore. Although there's a little bit of that, right? It's a two-edged sword. You really don't need the guy to practice, but you don't want to have him just, get fat and happy during the week, and then show up and not play great.
Well, I think it also too is what team you're playing. Do we really need you, or can we sit you out another week? And if I'm playing this week, I want to play after seeing what Derrick Henry did last week.
Yeah.
I want to play. That ankle's feeling a little bit better right now for Joe Mixon right now.
Right.
Because, they're at home, and obviously it's a big game for them. And it looks like him and Stefon Diggs have really hit it off from what I've been seeing on some of their stories or whatever. So, that ankle is really feeling better now that I saw what Derrick Henry did to the Bills last Monday.
Yeah, why don't we talk about that a little bit? Because even the players admitted after the game, we didn't have the same edge or sense of urgency that the Ravens did.
Right. Anybody
that was watching any part of that game could have figured that one out. But how does that situation kind of manifest itself in the first place? Because I think for a lot of fans, it's hard to understand. It's like you're a 3-0 football team. You got a big matchup against another AFC powerhouse. It's prime time. How are you not up and juiced and bringing the edge to a game like that? How does
I think they were.
Yeah.
I mean, if they were a 10, Baltimore was a 20.
Okay.
I mean, they're 1-2. They're like, if we go 1-3, we're at home. We have to win this football game. And I think with the Bills, the mentality was that, we're 3-0. We're a good football team. Everybody's picking us. Whoa, Josh Allen, MVP, and we're one of the better teams in the league. It was just one of those deals where you just go out, you feel good about it, and boom, you just get knocked in the mouth. It was like a Kansas City or Pittsburgh Monday night.
Yeah.
We've had a bunch of those, you know.
I mean,
you practice great all week, no matter what.
Taking over the game.
Exactly. It just doesn't. I mean, it's one game.
Yeah.
It's one game.
And here's the
but
thing
now
as well,
teams will be like, but now we got kind of a blueprint for that. Well, you know what?
Not so much.
Not so much. I don't think it is. It's just a one-time game, man. I just
you go through this. We were talking about it. Baltimore's kind of an outlier in terms of their offense. It's not like, you know what I mean? It's not like a lot of other offenses you're going to see in this league.
Yeah,
right.
Not at all.
They're one of a kind.
How many times they see? I mean, them and San Francisco will probably have a fullback that run more plays than most running backs, probably.
Yeah. Right, a 300-pound fullback.
300 pounds.
I think one of the things too is when you're out there and you feel like you're ready, and this other team comes out just off their rocker like that. You feel like, okay, well, let's gather up. We got to do this now, right? It takes you a minute to get a collective gathering of your thoughts and say, listen, here, these guys are really bringing it. Let's go.
Yeah.
And not only do you have to get yours on track, but you have to derail theirs.
Right.
And if they keep having success, there's no derailing it, right? It takes them to almost stop and take a breath after the adrenaline's popped off for you to get back in the game, which is kind of what happened to the Bills. They got us to 21-10. It's like, okay, we got a chance. And then the trick play goes backwards. It was catastrophic. The only way it could have been worse is if they scored right then on that play instead of just taking it down and scoring after a couple of plays. But you turn the ball over in a play where you finally got some momentum. Then you're back in, you got the shovel in your hand, you're digging a deeper hole.
It's one of those nights, baby.
It was just one of those nights.
It's just one of those nights.
It's the same. You think back to that Kansas City Monday night game.
Now, Baltimore could lay an egg this week
right.
or whatever. Right? Who they play? I don't even know who they play, but.
Cincinnati, their
backs against the wall too, right?
Yeah, they're 1-3.
They're 1-3. So.
Think about
who's more desperate this week?
Right, exactly. I mean, this league here is so difficult to figure out until week 16.
Yeah.
It really is so difficult to figure out until week 16. And that's why this is the most watched.
Yeah.
All right, so let's look at this week's game and talk some player availability here. We already know Vaughn is not going to be available this week for the next 3 games after that. Khalil Shakir not practicing again today. If he is out of the mix, who can you see kind of helping to fill the void there? That doesn't have to necessarily be one specific guy, but how do you see the slack getting picked up if Shakir, is not available Sunday, knowing he has been the number one target guy?
Well, there's 2 options.
Okay.
First option, we see Superman, 17, take over the entire game.
Okay.
That's one option.
Which is a distinct possibility.
Which is a very good possibility. Or we see Ray Davis and James Cook take over the football game.
Okay.
Anywhere from that range of, I would even give it 25 to 30 carries between those guys. I mean, the running game having over 200 yards. That's what I would do. I mean, that would be my other option.
Right. So, yeah, we were
I don't think Houston is that good against the run.
Well, they're
chuckling.
25th in the league in yards per carry against. They're giving
Yeah.
up 4.7 per carry.
Yeah.
So
we were chuckling amongst ourselves, Brownie and I, about, Josh going into Houston with Steph Diggs on the other side and like sugar high Josh coming out, like peeling him off the ceiling like we used to do,
Like, I'm going to show you, Josh.
I'm going to show. Yeah. I'm going to lift this stadium and sing, with my,
That could hurt the Texans.
It could.
And
It could also sabotage us.
I was in Houston last week for my 40th high school reunion.
Oh, yeah.
Dude.
And there were actually a couple of people that came up to me and said, it seems to me that they're forcing the ball to Diggs. I was like, oh, well, it's kind of, okay, that's your opinion, whatever. But, like, after that, 2 and 3 people came up to me and said that. And Tank Bell was it Tank Bell?
Tank Dell.
Tank Dell and Nico. But Nico had a great game last week,
Yeah.
right?
He's got 100 more yards than anybody in the league
In
right
the league,
now.
yeah. So I've heard that, like, before this game, like the week before I heard that.
Man,
And look, I love Steph when he was here.
I love
when
Steph
they
was
when
great.
they got Steph here, I was like, oh my God, yes, we got a top-rated receiver here. And the
Absolutely.
first image when they traded him, the first image that came to mind was him standing there in Kansas City, watching them. I think they won the AFC Championship.
Oh, yeah.
Remember that picture? He was sitting there on the field. I was
Hands
like,
on
man,
his
you know
head.
what? Hands on. I was like, you know what? Even the 4 years, that's the one picture I remember. And I think that guy laid it on the line. Sure, the last couple of years, the playoff numbers weren't there, but you know what? And neither was Gabe Davis. Neither were a couple
Right,
other
there were
guys
no
that were
other-
there.
yeah,
and
yeah,
he
yeah.
was that
Good
guy.
point.
So, I mean, it was a lot of pressure. I think it was a lot of pressure on him and Josh to try to connect more, and it just wasn't there.
Yeah.
It just wasn't there, So that picture, and obviously everybody's been talking about the missed drop in Kansas City or whatever. But you know what?
Yeah.
I give it 4 great years of them two really connecting and really putting Josh and them on the map, really, for 4 years in a row.
Here's your throw.
Yeah, there's
I
the
mean,
throw.
it's
right
right there. It's 60 yards in the air,
Yeah.
right on the money.
Right on the money. Right on the money.
Well, yeah, we all sit here in stunned silence as we watch it
I
again.
mean, even
Yeah, and
if
he's
it's
going like this. He's like just this.
Yeah.
I was like, dude, it's right there, man.
Yeah, it's right there. But you know what? It happens, man.
His last touchdown for the Bills was against the Eagles in the overtime loss in Week 12. That was his last touchdown scored. It's going to be very interesting to see if he has a similar drop-off in Houston come the second half of the season, because I think the last 2 years in a Bills uniform, his ability to separate, I think, dropped off, and he practices so hard every
tired.
day.
Exhausted.
Tired legs.
Yeah, tired legs.
Tired
It
legs.
happens.
And just my personal opinion, I think he's too proud to practice any other way. So here he is practicing hard, and this is a guy that was still taking vet days here his last 2 years.
Yeah.
And still could not get through. I just, as a 30-year-old, with as hard as he practices, I just don't think he can get through a 17-game season anymore and give you everything he gives you in the first 8 games. He gets to the second 8 games,
I think
declining.
I think he can do it. Now. I think he'll do it. I think he'll do it this season.
Why
Only
do you-
because of
why
Nico
do you feel
Collins.
that way?
Because he got Nico Collins.
'Cause he doesn't have to be the one?
He doesn't have to be the one. He
That's
doesn't
true.
have to be the one.
All right.
And I'm sure. And hey, look, I've had conversations with D'Amico Ryan. I love the guy, and he would tell him, "Hey, bro, settle it down a little bit.
Yeah.
Cut it down a little bit. You don't have to go that hard every day, every play.
Yeah.
Cut it down a little bit." So yeah, I think it's a perfect fit. I know he's only there for a 1-year contract, right?
Yeah.
I'm assuming, but I think the numbers will. He won't be their leading receiver,
Right.
Because of Collins. He won't be with Collins, but I think he'll
Yeah.
put up at the end of the year. I think he'll have some
Listen,
pretty decent numbers.
Hey, man, he can catch 10 touchdowns this Sunday as long as they don't win. I don't care. You know, I mean,
That would be a heck of a final score.
I do not
What,
care.
are we going to win, 80-70?
I do not care about that.
Yeah,
I
me
do
neither.
not care about that.
Yeah.
Um,
I want us to win.
yeah,
I care
about
with you.
I care
Yeah,
about
I'm with you.
Josh.
He can have a good game. I don't care.
Right.
I don't care
That's
as long
right.
as we win.
I care about Josh and Coleman and Khalil and
Cook
Kincaid
and
and
Davis.
Cook and all those guys.
What do you
Those are the guys I care about.
quickly before we run out of time here, Thurm? What are you seeing with Ray right now? Because if you look at his college tape, and then how he's had some, and look, I know his carries have been few and far between, usually at the end of games.
Yeah.
So maybe that's hard too, jumping into a game cold at the end and trying to, pick your spots and find your holes. But it just seems like he's more tentative than his college tape appears. He seems like a very decisive runner with good vision if you look at his college tape. And I don't know that we've seen that from Ray just yet. And I'm wondering what could be at play there as to why he seems a little tentative to trust it. You know what I mean? Trust his instincts.
Well, I think, you're at Kentucky, and you're pretty much the man.
Yeah.
And you're here, Cook is a man.
Yeah.
I think there is some type of learning experience that you have to go to that he has to step back and be like, you know what? Am I trying to do too much? Do I need to do this or what? Do I need to do that? I think with him, obviously, first-year guy, but I think he'll come along.
Yeah.
This is just kind of a learning period process for him. And, it was kind of that way with James Cook, kind of learned, then found out how to practice,
Right.
how to play, and, first carry was a fumble, and he's learned from that. And I don't think that's the problem with Ray. I just think that, you know what, if I'm lucky to get 5 plays, I'm going to get 5 plays, right? Because Cook is the main guy. So and he wants to be perfect, and he don't want to fumble. He don't want to miss an assignment. You know what?
Right.
You got to let the game come to you, man, and just be yourself.
Yeah.
So
I will say I like his blitz pickup. Did you see that one against the Jags? He took 2 guys out at
man,
once.
2 guys out at once. I'm telling you. So I think, from now until the end of the season, I think he'll get better and better.
I
as the
think
season
it's
goes.
reps and experience, and
Yeah.
he'll gain confidence with his like even a blitz pickup like the one you mentioned. It's like he'll get some pats on the back for that and film. The
Yeah, I
next
mean, we've
day.
had him in here a couple of times
Yeah,
already.
he's a
and
great
we
dude.
We love
He's a
him.
great dude.
Great
Yeah.
dude. Yeah. So it, I think just some extra reps, and that'll come with time.
Yeah, and
over the course of the
I had a
season.
chance to meet him a
'Cause-
couple of weeks ago out here for the
Huddle for Hunger.
Hunter, and guess who he mentioned? Like, oh man, you should told me to watch your tapes. Vince Morrow, remember Vince?
Really?
Tight end? Yeah, he was at Kentucky.
I'll be
Vince
darned.
was
There
at
you go.
coaches at Kentucky. And
Yeah.
I was like, oh
Good
yeah.
stuff.
All right.
Good stuff.
All right, Thurm, thanks very much for popping in. Good to see you.
Good to see you
and,
guys.
hopefully we're all celebrating a victory on Monday.
Oh, we better be.
All right, that's Hall of Famer Thurman Thomas joining us here in studio.